morning, everybody. Whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world, this is Coast to Coast. We got everybody in the house. How's it going, guys?
Another day in paradise.
Another beautiful morning.
We got a great guest today. We met years ago, actually, when I was still playing. He was covering our games. You've seen his pictures in most major sports publications, from USA Today to ESPN, and we see each other a fair amount now. And most recently on Monday at the Kraken game, the one and only Steven Bisig. How's it going, man?
Good. How about you guys?
Good. I mean, I guess we got to kick this off. How did you get into sports photography?
Pretty much in a nutshell, I've worked in the automotive industry forever, and I was traveling around doing some off-road racing with a friend. Well, I wasn't racing, but I was helping code support crew for a friend who was doing some off-road racing. And while he was driving, I started to photograph the races. Got hooked up with a magazine, did some automotive, some off-road magazine stuff for a little bit, and kind of got tired of the dirt, like just damaging camera gear. It's kind of costly, and kind of wanted to stay a little clean. And I just so happened to once I started thinking about looking into the mainstream sports stuff, through that work, I actually met the Detroit Lions team photographer, who was a good friend with my manager already. And Gavin Smith, out of Detroit, I mean, I consider him my mentor. He's no longer the team photographer, but he's focused more on video work. But anyway, he invited me. He said, "Hey, anytime you want to come out to a Lions game, just let me know." So that weekend I flew out to Detroit. I think it was in 2009, Detroit versus Green Bay. And that was kind of my first game. And then the following weekend, Detroit was out here in San Francisco. And so it was close. So I flew down for that as well. And just doing that little bit. And then with the Ravens, with the Renton Ravens, just having that little bit of portfolio, I got noticed by a smaller wire service, and then they got bought by USA Today, like shortly after, in around 2010, 2011. And then from there on, been covering the Seattle pro sports and collegiate sports since then, with a few little oddball events. But yeah, that's pretty much the quick story. Nothing too much before all that. My dad did a little bit of photography when we used to race downhill mountain bikes when I was a kid. So he did a lot of that for his website. But yeah, no long super family history, nothing like that. Just something I picked up early on in my post high school career.
So, I mean, I know you were in the automotive aftermarket stuff. Because I remember watching you go to like King of the Hammers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how was it shooting those events? I mean, obviously, the dirt is definitely rough on camera gear, but it seems like it would have been a cool event. Oh
yeah, it's the King of the Hammers particular event is considered the Burning Man of the off-road world, or Burning Man of the automotive world. I mean, they built a city out in the middle of nowhere, outside, about an hour and a half outside Palm Springs, and I've watched it go from 50 drivers and to, I mean, I don't know, there was maybe like a couple thousand fans then for the first race. And I think they're pushing over 100,000 spectators for a week now, out in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, a little bit different. I mean, there's some trust factors that when you're photographing some of these drivers. So I get a little more brave with the drivers I've known forever, because I know their skill level. I know when they get upset when things aren't going right, which usually leads to being a little more aggressive. So it's kind of funny because it's carried over actually into football in particular, because a lot of photographers will get spooked on the sidelines, and I'm still dumb enough not to worry about getting hit. I mean, I am 6'5", so I can hopefully handle myself a little bit, although there is a viral video out there right now with the Blitz, the Seahawks, taking me out at the NFC Championship game. So it was more of me falling down from the turf monster, trying to avoid running him over than anything, but it doesn't look good for me. But anyway, so it's kind of carried over into the football world, where I don't know. I guess I'm a little brave being around machines most of my life, and now machines on two legs on the field.
I mean, that makes sense. If you're used to getting out of the way of cars, getting out of the way of football players, a little less intimidating.
Yep.
What was your initial influences on getting into photography? I mean, obviously you started with cars and such, but I guess going even before that, were you just somebody who liked to take a camera around and take pictures of birds and things like that, and that's how you kind of got into it? Or
it was pretty much, I mean, it was pretty much straight into the car racing, the sports, nothing really else. There's a little bit of like interest in landscape photography, which my father actually does professionally now. But I mean, going back to your bird reference, I have always been kind of a nature documentary fan. So I am trying to actually do that a little bit more, just a little more relaxation, nothing on deadline, nothing like that. But no real, I mean, my friend Gavin, my mentor, was actually kind of the inspiration with the focus on sports. I mean, he was doing like outside Detroit, the Lions. He was doing a lot of work for ESPN magazine back in the day, the Cool magazine, which sadly that went away. But he was doing a lot of stuff for, I mean, everything, like special assignments. I think he was on the X Games on their staff crew. Yeah, I mean, I probably have more influence these days now. Like our local photographers are amazing, so I'm always watching them, and mostly because I'm with them on the sidelines and at the same games, and thinking, how the heck did you get that photo? Where did you find that photo? Because sometimes it is hard especially on a stagnant game where nothing's really happening to make those photos. But yeah, I probably have more influence these days, and mostly from local photographers than anything.
Have you got to do any shoots with Randy Johnson? I know that after he retired, he became a photographer as well. And seeing that you guys are about the same height, I got to imagine that creates a couple of conversations.
No, I've never had a chance to talk to him. I've been around him. Yeah, Randy's awesome. It's a cool story because, I mean, that's what he went to college essentially for, was photojournalism. He's big rock and roll, and now I know he goes on a lot of like safaris. I know he has a gallery display in Cooperstown as well. They made a special section just for him outside his Hall of Fame. But yeah, he's got me on a couple. I think he's 6'7". I'm 6'5", so he's got me a little bit. We actually see Griffey more around here with a camera. And then now Marshawn too. Marshawn's on the sidelines quite a bit, and he'll grab a camera. But no, Randy's an awesome photographer. But a lot of people think he's just another athlete that just grabbed a camera afterwards. But no, he was a photographer before he learned how to throw a ball.
So what was your favorite thing to cover? Like what? And then I guess at the same time, like, because it may not necessarily be the same thing. Like, what was your favorite thing to cover, and then what's like your coolest moment doing this?
Favorite sport is kind of a toss. Favorite thing to cover is kind of a toss up right now. I love football because football, you're trying to predict the next play and where the ball's coming. So it just mentally wipes. I mean, I'm mentally done after a football game just because you're constantly trying to predict the next play, where the ball's going to be there with your lens. So I love shooting football. The Kraken, ever since we got the Kraken and hockey is such a fast sport and so hard to shoot. So, I mean, I'm loving that. It's a challenge. And if you get away with a good photo, like right off the bat, then the rest of the game, you can, I don't want to say coast, but the rest of the game is a lot easier. As far as moments go, man, top three, I mean, they're all going to be probably the Seahawks. I mean, I've been lucky enough to photograph 3 NFC championship games here in Seattle now. A lot of people, their team's never even been in the NFC championship game, so I'm really grateful for that.
We don't have any Cowboys fans on here.
But obviously, I think the first one was against the Niners when we went back to the Super Bowl. That was in the tip. Unfortunately, I was on the opposite end of the field. We had photographer on every corner of the field, so it wasn't on my end. But and be a lifelong Seahawks fan, I mean, that one was hard to beat. And then, I mean, the AFC Championship against Green Bay, the comeback, that was insane. Just being there, witnessing again, Jermaine Kearse's touchdown at the end was on the opposite end. Everything happens in the south end of that stadium. And then, yeah, I mean, I think even number 3 was, I was thinking about this last night too, is Salbert's 2-point the conversion win against the Rams. I think it was week 16, the last home game before the playoffs.
Yeah, off the helmet.
Yeah, I think that, and that was again on the south end zone, but I was actually down there, and it was a fun one because he did it, and the game was a walk off, so I just ran in and into the huddle or into the pile and tried to get some shots. Yeah, I mean those are kind of my biggest moments. Still waiting for that Mariners World Series, and
yeah, you and me both.
Yep. I mean, we had some moments this year. It was a pretty cool, again, lifelong Mariners fan, being in the locker room while they're popping champagne and just getting soaked, and that was a good personal experience. Photos were good. I was proud of the photos, but as a neutral fan while working, it was pretty hard to hold emotions in when you're in that locker room and capturing them celebrating. But
that is one of the harder things, whether you're taking pictures or covering media side, is when there's like a tense moment that your team pulls through and you have to be like, okay, remain professional. Like, can't be excited for my team until I take this, credential off. And so have you ran into a situation where they're like, hey, you calm down?
I did, but it was more venting about the refereeing. I can't remember. It was one of the Seahawks games, but things were happening, and I do talk talk behind my camera, like complain and maybe might chirp a little bit. It's very quiet, but a certain team photographer heard me. He laughed and he told me to calm down a little bit. It was this season. It was this season, but there was it was a blatant. I don't even remember what the call was, but there was a couple blatant missed calls.
When you're doing this, do you ever? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then also most of the time the emotions with refereeing doesn't matter the sport. It's usually because they're blocking me.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you ever get caught up when you're, wanting to be a fan, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I should be taking pictures of this? Like, is there ever moments, especially in some of these bigger games, where the game kind of overwhelms like the actual job?
Maybe early on in my career. I can't think of anything recently. I mean, I will watch, especially like Seahawks, and especially if we have multiple photographers, which we usually do. If the play's on the opposite side and something like that, I will just I'll watch the game when I'm really supposed to be trying to shoot something, even though it's a really far away distance. But I mean, you never know. You need to always kind of have a backup, even if the crop or the photo isn't as clear. But if it's if it's a newsworthy image or whatever, you still need to send it. But I mean, I think we all daydream sometimes. So sometimes I might just. No, but like Bo said, it is extremely hard. I mean, to when you're a sports fan and you're focused and not celebrate, especially after, I mean, a 2-point walk off or the comeback with Jermaine Kearse or things like that. So, but no, you just kind of get in the car afterwards and scream one way or the other and and celebrate it.
No, but I got to imagine it gets exciting to look at, like, you watch the game through a very small screen or through an eye hole. Do you have a most iconic picture?
I should look back through all of them. I need to. I can't think of one that I actually want to say iconic for my part. I'm terrible with it. After a game, I upload it to my website and then back it up. And I mean, the Seahawks season this year, we had what's called a live editor. So we were sending photos right out of our camera, goes through a Wi-Fi or through a hotspot into an editor. I mean, most of the games, I haven't even looked at them. I mean, I haven't even gone back through them, edited them, and put them on my website. So just because it's a little easier when you're like a normal game, I'm captioning, editing, and uploading, and it's really easy to just take all those photos already processed and just throw them on the website. But yeah, I'd have to look back.
I mean, that's definitely a change in itself, right? Because it used to be that you'd hand off a memory card,
Mm-hmm.
and now if they're live feeding, that's like in a way it's cool, but then you also will have a tendency not to look at what you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I am looking. I mean, the way it works is you're going through your camera and looking at the photos, and you can tag them and select them to FTP. So at least you're scrolling through them, so you kind of know what you have in the head, and you're captioning. Like we actually caption them via voice, like a microphone, just so our editors know who's in the photo, what happened, and so on. But yeah, it's changed quite a bit. They don't have to fly editors out to Seattle for the big games, and the unfortunate part is for the early like the last two NFC Championship games in the playoffs. My father was actually a card runner, so he got to be on the sideline with me and basically grabbing my card, running into the photo rooms to edit. So fortunately, that's no longer going to happen because again, it's a lot faster to send photos out, especially for like the big stuff coming, like the World Cup. It's actually photos will probably be going to Europe, to an editor in Europe as well. So I mean, it's cool, but it does take a little bit of work from some people that normally run on the sidelines for media outlets. But
well, it changes. It makes me want to ask this question because I know a lot of photographers. Being a super fan, I get photographed a lot, and I will always go through the AP or through Getty Images and see what photographs of me are on there. Now, interestingly enough, I can't purchase any of those images, even though they are of me, because I can't prove that they are of me. But I know that photographers make a lot of money or make a portion of their income through those images. By then uploading it directly to an editor, does that change that game some? Does now the editor get more of or get half of that money now because of that?
No, it's all. I don't know how the editor part of it works. As far as I know, is with us, it's just a game rate. Nothing like no royalties or anything. But most of our editors are also photographers as well. Like one of our main editors here in Seattle. I mean, he covered pretty much all the Seahawks games with me. Because our lead photographer, unfortunately, he got stepped on at a Seahawks game and severely broke his foot. Not by a player, by another video guy. So, but every organization like AP, Getty, us, it's all going to be different contracts. I don't know how it works on their end, but as far as I know, editors usually just paid either hourly or by the game rate. Because a lot of them are doing multiple games per day.
And now I want to ask some of the technical stuff. You know, like what camera are you using and the shutter speeds and stuff like that? I got to imagine when you're doing sports, like when I take a picture on my phone, the shutter speed is usually like 160, which is fast in video world, but not very fast at all. And you get a little bit of a blur. You got to be doing things probably at 1/2000 or 1/6000. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, as far as cameras, I've been Nikon since day one, and one of the reasons was that my mentor, he was Nikon, so he said when you come out to the Detroit games, you can I can borrow one of his lenses, one of the expensive lenses, and throw it on my body. So and I love Nikon. The color profiles seems like a little bit more saturated, a little just better than so. There's a lot of photographers that will jump from brand to brand every few years, depending on the technology. I've never been. I like Nikon. I'm sticking with Nikon. As far as settings go, yeah, it depends on the venue. We have. I mean, we're lucky with Climate Pledge Arena. The lighting is so good. So you can run the fast shutter speed. So like hockey, I'm shooting at around 1250 ISO. And I think shutter speed is usually a 1/2000, and that's a wide open, so f2.8.
Of
And
course,
the same thing.
That's with a $10,000 lens too.
Yeah. Well, hockey you don't. I mean, hockey. The biggest lens I use is a 7200 right now, just because we have to shoot through a hole about that big. So if your lens is too big, then and Nikon doesn't really have a kind of a mid-range big glass right now for the current mirrorless cameras, where Sony and Nikon do have Sony and Canon do have like a smaller lightweight, like a 300 mil lens. So I'm waiting for them to come out with something like that. Other venues like I shot UW basketball, UW versus USC last night, and that arena is pretty old, so the lighting, there's more reader boards or advertisement boards around, and like that put off more light than the actual arena light, so you have a lot of light shift. But that one, I think I'm shooting. Last night I was at ISO 2000, and I usually shoot right around 1/1000th, I think, shutter, just to kind of.
I imagine you run into some of that at Angel of the Winds Arena too, because the lighting in there is not great.
I've actually never shot there.
Oh, okay. You're not missing out.
There's a soccer venue down in south of Seattle. It's called Starfire, and the Sounders, our MLS team, will play there every once in a while, and that's probably the worst. It is such a small, holds 5,000 to 6,000 people type of field, and yeah, you push your camera's capabilities down there. I don't even remember the settings. We just all kind of. When you go shoot a game there, you're basically like, all right, we got about 20 minutes to get your photo, and then the rest of them are just muddy and because it's super high ISO. And
yeah, so it's also the same venue that our rugby team plays at.
Yep.
And that field it's interesting because the field that they play on is actually the worst lit field of the fields there. It's just the only one that has the seating, but there's only like 5 lights that hit the field. So you have, like you said, the first 20 minutes of the game because the sun's still out. And then as soon as that sets, it doesn't matter how big your glass is, your picture is terrible.
Yep. Yeah, it's always fun when there's a bigger game there and ESPN has to come in and stream it, or something like ESPN2, and they have to bring all their own lights in, and it gets, I don't know, it's kind of, it's a cool little venue, but then because the fans are so close to the players, so it can get pretty rowdy in there. But yeah, photographing it's terrible.
It does sound like they're not going to be there real long. It sounds like it's only a couple years left, and then they're going to go to Memorial Stadium once they're done rebuilding that. Yep. That should be awesome.
Yeah, another historical. Well, actually, I don't know how much of the history they're keeping. I'm sure they are, but yeah, hopefully the lighting will be better.
And you're spoken about.
Sorry, you mentioned the Mariners World Series earlier. Like the possibilities. What are some other spots where you've been like, this is like the dream venue or the dream situation I would love to be at, and not even just team specific, but what's still kind of like on your bucket list of places to get to?
Probably number one bucket list, just because I grew up watching them too, is to get the Sonics back. I've only photographed one NBA game, and then it was an exhibition game up here, I think last season, between the Clippers and the Trailblazers. But obviously, so I need to get them back, and especially that kind of ignited too. The other night they retired Detlef Shrimp, who played for the Sonics. They retired his jersey at the UW game, and so there was quite a few Sonics like Kemp and Peyton. So all the guys that I used to watch growing up. So that's kind of that's a bucket list. I was really trying to hope to get to the Super Bowl this year, but credentialing is kind of weird with the Super Bowl. So it was too late to get credentialed in. So I think shooting the Seahawks in a Super Bowl would be awesome. And then my other big bucket list, because I've always been into automotive racing. Formula One is one of my favorite sports to watch. So shooting a Formula One race would be huge. And I'm fortunate enough that this year we have a World Cup coming here, so you're not going to be able to really top an event like that. So I'll get to say I photographed the World Cup, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, when it comes to sports, I'm a homer. So anything to do with our home teams, but
Now,
I'm all in.
will you get the call for the Olympics in 28 down in LA? And would you go down there for filming that?
I mean, I would do it if they offer, but we kind of have like a crew that's been doing a lot longer than me, and they kind of do the Olympic stuff. So they were over in Italy doing all that, and they do some of the other bigger events. Like this is pretty much the same crew that would be like on the Super Bowl. So guys that have a lot more seniority than I do, and possibly a chunk into the company as well, like an investment in the company. Not to say that I won't throw my hat in the ring though. I'm more of a winter sports guy, so maybe come Salt Lake City, I think in 2032, 2034, I can't remember what it is. But I think that one, I love that area during the winter time. So I'm more of a snow sports person. So I definitely try to do that one. And if I don't do it, I might go just spectate some of the events in Salt Lake.
Awesome.
Right. You guys got anything else for him before we let him get out of here?
That was my.
No, I mean, I love the photographers. Like I said, I get my picture taken all the time. And one of the most iconic pictures. Yeah, I know it's pretty fake.
Some of us have no idea what that's like.
Interestingly enough, one of the photographers in New York, one of the well-known photographers, right at the beginning of COVID, like he was one of the first people to die of COVID. And he was a sports photographer, and they have all these iconic moments that they put in the New York Daily News, and they gave him a centerfold of all the pictures. And he's got back when the Giants won the Super Bowl and the Rangers won the Stanley Cup, and all of these iconic moments. And then also in the corner, he's got a picture of me.
Nice.
It was one of this great picture of me just smiling because we had just beaten the Giants to win the division. And it's such an amazing picture. So I have an appreciation for photographers because they do reach out to me and they say, I have this great picture of you before they send it over to the AP most of the time, because it's, they make some money off of those things. So, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you guys get those moments in time, those footnotes in time where, you can get when you're set up in the right spot, and you can get a great picture of the football and all of the offense and defensive linemen lined up in there, and you can kind of see everything, really clearly. And, that special moment when you get somebody who did a stiff arm right there, and the guy is like the defensive man is like flailing and such. Those are the moments that are really incredible to do that. And like I said, you have to be at the right place at the right time, because not every photographer can get that moment.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It definitely helps to have a couple. And most outlets, especially football, most outlets have two photographers working usually on one sideline or the other sideline. But yeah, it's and even then, sometimes you don't get the photo because it's in a different spot. Yep.
So I know in Philly, as I watch these guys, they run back and forth. So the moment that they cross like the 35-yard line, they start to run down to the other side of the field and get it that way. So
yeah, I think
you've never had a time where you got run over, right? You never got trampled except by that one other videographer or Swoop or not?
No, it was Bliss.
It was
a
the
mascot. No, I haven't been run over yet. Been close a few times, but no, not yet. But yeah, we're always running. I mean, I think the most I clocked on my my watch, a couple 3 years ago, Oregon versus UW football game, the year that UW went to the national championship, and I think I clocked like eight miles that day just on the field. I mean, just since I got to the stadium, just because it was just nonstop offense back and forth. And in college, college sidelines are insane. I mean, because they have all the recruiters, the scouts, everybody's there, especially a big game like that. So you don't really have that many room to shoot. So you're running from end zone to end zone, because you can't really shoot on the sidelines. There's so many people. So, but then there's other games, I mean, which are just snooze fest games. Like you can literally walk from sideline or from end zone to end zone. if it's very one-sided defense only, or one team is just dominating.
Oh, like that Seahawks 49ers game that was 13-3 that everybody was stuck watching, and it was
yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
And of course, where can everybody find your work?
I'm on all the social media channels. So you can see my name there. If you just type in Steven Bisig, there will be 2 of them that pop up. If you land on a landscape photography one, that's my dad. If you land on the sports photography one, that's me. So I'm pretty easy to find. I don't hide on the internet at all, because as far as I know, I don't have anything bad out there. But yeah, it's Instagram. My social media accounts really haven't been updated. I've been kind of slacking, but the website's always within 24 hours. I usually have game photos up from whatever I covered the night before.
And then what are you covering next? I imagine it's Kraken, but
yeah, it's kind of a dark season now. I think I got 3 Kraken games or 2 Kraken games, one this Saturday, one next week, and then we're in the baseball season already. So then it'll be Mariners for a while. Soccer, they're on the road right now. Both are professional teams because they're planting grass in Lumen Field right now, to get ready for the World Cup. So they're not going to be home until I think April. So it's going to be a fun summer with the Mariners, and the Mariners are even playing on the same day as one of the World Cup games. So it's going to be an interesting day.
That's going to be a mess.
So I mean, Seahawks. The soccer games at noon, and the Mariners they bumped them back to like 7:10 our time. So at least there's some time in between. At least soccer is predictable as far as time wise. But yeah, it's gonna be fun time in Seattle this year. So you're gonna have the Mariners hype, and then Seahawks starting once their preseason or their training camp starts is gonna be. Yeah, Seattle's gonna go crazy this year. We just need to get cracking in the playoffs.
And am I correct? You guys have a USA game there, right, at Lumen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, versus Australia or Belgium. I can't remember who we were drawing, but yeah, we do have one of them. And those games it's been several years, but they played a World Cup qualifier here against, let's say like Costa Rica or somebody, but that crowd is insane. Can't remember what the U.S. supporters called, something the Army or I can't remember, but that stadium gets loud with soccer.
I can imagine. It would be so amazing to kind of see that. Obviously, we have World Cup games here as well, and I've heard Brazil gets crazy. English soccer is always getting crazy. I would love to see how the Americans really, cheer for their team.
Yeah, they do a good job, and it's a different noise than like if you go to a football NFL game where it's a lot of white noise trying to get the offense to jump sides and things like that, where soccer noise is it's like organized loudness. It's weird. It's when the stadium's chanting, it's and then of course, I mean with soccer, there's a lot of pent up excitement. So nothing's happening, people are chanting, and then you score a goal, which could be the game winner. One goal could be a game winner, so the place just erupts. Yeah, it's a different. And we had the Club World Cup here last summer. So it filled up quite a bit of the stadium, especially because our home team was actually involved. Our home team was playing some of the world's best teams, so it got pretty loud. It was a pretty cool experience. So I can't imagine what the actual real World Cup game is going to be this summertime. But yeah.
Yeah, I know that Seattle has beaten the Union a number of times for cups and championships and things like that. So it's been tough as we don't have any. We have a couple of shields in our trophy case, but we really don't have a cup yet. And that's been, I think, 3 losses specifically to Seattle. So we're coming after you.
And of course, you started a media company. You should plug that.
Yeah, it's an advertising agency. Just to kind of like just started that. Kind of soft rolling that out. But I've worked within the automotive industry or the off-road industry. I've worked in marketing the entire time. So just kind of rolling something out on the side to help the small to medium-sized businesses that focus on product to get people outside. So whether it's fishing, I'm a big fisherman. So whether it's fishing gear, hiking, camping, off-roading, I've walked at a lot of trade shows over the years, and you see a lot of companies with a 12 by 12 booth that are making product out of their garage that looks awesome. They just don't have the marketing experience. So that's kind of what the focus is of that. So just a real soft rollout. Currently, but and it's mostly if I have extra time on the side. I'm a person that's always doing something. I'm not a person that can relax, so it's kind of just a side project, and yeah, yep.
Very cool. Well, awesome. We appreciate you coming in, taking time with us this morning. I know it's early for you since you're on the West Coast with us.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on again.
Of course. Absolutely. It's great to see you. And of course, I will see you on Saturday because I will also be at that Kraken game.
Yep. I'll be there. I'll see you.
Right on. Take it easy,
Awesome.
brother.
Thanks for coming in, Steven.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. Very cool. So there is some other sports news that we got to talk about. And, one of them is Kyler Murray getting released. What do you think? Man, right? and they're eating some money on it. So what do you guys view his market as?
Baseball.
Wow.
I really believe he's going to go to baseball. I think he could probably get on a AAA team right away. And I think all he's got to do is get his swing down. And why wouldn't he? The one thing that we all have learned about Kyler Murray is that he doesn't want to put in the work. That he is a good athlete, but he doesn't want to study the plays. He doesn't want to watch the film and stuff like that. What better place to not watch film and not study plays than on a baseball field?
No, I mean, that's true. Like there's less that has to go into it, especially going from, what he would be doing in baseball to a quarterback. Like that is wildly a different amount of work.
Yeah. Because the Cardinals are on the hook though for his money. It's like the Russell Wilson situation. Would pay him $1 million to come here for a year. He still gets his 30. I could see somebody like the Jets, taking a flyer on him for a year just while they draft a quarterback. Even like I don't remember what the Geno contract situation is, but if the Raiders didn't want somebody to start for a year and just throw him out there for a year just because he's cheap, I don't think they'll give up on him totally. But because otherwise, I agree. Football was clearly not, not where his first love was. He's just getting paid well to do it. But I think somebody will take a cheap flyer on him.
And I don't know that he's that. I think that he's the type of guy who won't do it for cheap. Just because he's getting paid from another team doesn't mean that he's going to accept a $1 million contract.
Well, the thing is, it's offset language in his contract. So if he takes 15, he loses 15 from them. So he's going to take the 1 to not lose the 30 from the Cardinals. He's getting that money regardless. So
Yeah,
the higher contract,
gets
it's
the-
like with Russell Wilson. The higher contract he signs for, the less he takes from somebody else. So he'll take the cheap just because he gets his money regardless.
Well, not only that,
stick it to
but
the Cardinals.
if he's mad
Yeah.
about getting cut, he'll take
That's what
the
I'm saying.
cheapest deal just to stick it to
Yes.
Arizona.
Yep. So
That's why baseball seems so enticing.
Mm.
He could go to baseball and he would get paid every penny from them because it doesn't say, hey, whatever sport, whatever. Like if you take a job as a car salesman and you make $1 million selling cars, we get $1 million off of that. No, it doesn't work that way. So that's why I think he could go to baseball and he could get like a $3 to $5 million contract,
Sure.
two-way contract to go to AAA and in the pros to see if he can make it, especially with the new EBS, and stuff like that. He's short. He's got a very small strike zone. So he could, his speed would actually placate a lot on the base pass. Like he could start stealing bases right out of the gate.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's opportunity for him there. I don't think he goes. I think he attempts the football thing at least a couple more times. I think he has at least 2 years left in him. He'll get a 1-year deal somewhere that he won't sign an extension. He'll probably get one other 1-year deal. And then it'll probably be done because he doesn't seem like he wants to be a backup either. So he's not going to have that long NFL career where he bounces around a bunch as a backup. Seems like soon as he's done with his starting opportunities, he'll probably bounce.
How old is he now, though? He's got to be like 28, 29.
That I don't know offhand, but that sounds about right.
So that's why I'm thinking that he's got to go now to baseball. If he goes and plays a couple more years in football and he gets over to that 30 mark, it's not worth it for him. You know what I mean? I think of what it was like for when Jordan.
28.
When Jordan went to baseball and he played a couple years in baseball, it was like, all right, he was right around that age, that 28, 29, he could make it happen. Now, the problem with Jordan is that he's 6'6", so his strike zone was monstrous.
Yeah.
Still kind of played okay. He was able to be a double-A player and such. He was able to do that for a couple years and then come back into basketball, after everybody forgot about the fact that he was a gambler. That being said, Kyler Murray doesn't have that ability. You know what I mean? I think that if he stays out until 30, 31 and then goes try to play baseball, it's not going to work. You get into baseball now, you take the year to get yourself figured out to get it back into the pros, and then you spend 5 or 6 years in the pros from 29 to 35 or 34. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that seems like more like a long-term thinking from a guy who you don't expect to do a lot of work. And I think the short-term thinking for him is take a deal next year, prove to everybody I'm still a starting quarterback, which is probably his mindset. And then, bet on yourself to get him, one more deal. Do I think all that's going to happen? No, because his game is built way more on athleticism to me than, pocket presence and that. And that's just stuff that's going to slow down as he gets older. But I think he absolutely takes a 1-year deal. Bo just said he leave it. I absolutely think he takes a 1-year deal somewhere, like those teams I mentioned, teams that are like, look, we don't need a long-term solution, but we're about to draft a quarterback. We don't want to have to start him this year. We'll start you. If you're great, fine. Somebody else will sign you next year. If you're terrible, it's great. We get another, high draft pick, and we don't have to worry about you, and our other guy didn't have to worry about starting. So that's why I think he slides in somewhere like that.
Yeah, but then I think about who he slides with. It's like, all right, you have the Jets.
Right.
You could almost say Cleveland would probably take a shot because they're always
because they do whatever the heck they want to.
Yeah, let's take another quarterback. We got 18 quarterbacks in our room and such.
And Deshaun Watson coming back. It would be wild. Cleveland would be wild just because of how dysfunctional they are.
The Saints, the Raiders. Although I can't see the Raiders when you have Tom Brady as one of the owners there, and because Tom
a lot from him.
Exactly, and I don't know that that's a good fit
Right.
between the two of them.
And what's the
other
Geno
place,
contract situation? I hadn't looked up for the Raiders. Was he one and done? I thought he signed a multi-year, but I hadn't looked up his contract situation.
yeah,
Like, are
I
they
think
stuck?
I think he's just about done there, only because of they they weren't happy with him.
Right?
He was not very good at Vegas. Like,
No.
and I think that has more to do with personal situations. He is he's a party guy. You know, he likes
Okay.
to go out there and be out in the open. And Vegas is, you have to have a very specific
Mindset. Yeah.
constitution, you know, to be able to play in Vegas, or else you get caught up in the hoopla. And
For
that's kind of what's been going on with that. I feel like that they, you know, so I don't know that they're real happy now that they got rid of their coach. You know, they got a new GM. I'm not sure that he's going to put his eggs in the basket of Kyler Murray, knowing his history. But
right.
the Jets are one. You could maybe say Miami because I know
That's
that
what
they're
I was
trying to get
thinking.
away from Tua.
Yeah.
Um,
They said that now they said Tua is definitely getting cut, right? That's the last report we hear. He is definitely out in
that's what
Miami.
I heard, that it's a June
Right.
1st cut
Right.
to be able to save some money in that regards. I
Right.
Again, I'm not certain because they haven't done it yet.
Right.
The
That's
Saints
what I
are
read.
also a
Well, I think the
spot.
Saints have their quarterback of the future, though. I think they believe more in Shug to give him another year before they slide Kyler Murray in there.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't think them. I think you've got to hit like the first couple of teams we kind of talked about. You know, like the Jets seem like a prime opportunity for him to go kind of waste away out there.
My dog tried to wipe out my camera. That's why I was like, I'll be right back.
or Steelers, because I know that they're playing the game with the Rodgers situation, but
Right.
the Steelers are one. And do I dare say the Vikings?
So that's actually in the article I was reading. So I was wondering, like, is that an actual,
No.
you know, Justin Jefferson comes out and tells you, like, hey, the quarterback is basically why we didn't win this year. So do you think Kyler is the answer? You know?
So no, there's of the guys that are available, he is the least likely guy to go there. And the only reason I say that is he doesn't fit O'Connell's system very well. O'Connell likes his guy to run his system. Kyler's best off schedule, which
For
is
sure.
not what Kevin O'Connell likes, right? So it's going to be a Rodgers, Cousins, Carr kind of situation under center there. If you're throwing Kyler in there, they already have a guy that likes to kind of move around and get hurt. Like they don't need Kyler to do that. So I'd be really surprised. The only thing that makes it a possibility is the fact that they're one of the worst teams when it comes to cap space, and they'd get him for nothing. But you're also going to get Cousins for nothing. So, I mean, would you rather go with Cousins, who already has rapport with your players, right? Because he played with most of them. He already knows O'Connell's system. Or are you going to go with Kyler that doesn't like to put in the work anyway? I mean, I don't know. For a guy that's not a system fit and doesn't like to work versus a guy super familiar with it, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's a real decision to make.
Yeah. I'd put him lower on the list of that. So, yeah. Watch, it's going to be the Jets. Let's just make it easy. Send him to the Jets. Let them have an interesting year, and then, you know, whatever happens.
Well, there's a piece of me that kind of agrees with you there, because I think that the Yankees own the rights to Kyler Murray. So it wouldn't be a surprise to kind of do that just to get up into that area and start to figure that out a little bit. I mean, I can't guarantee it, but I mean, it's the professional sports has made this much harder to have a Bo Jackson or a Deion Sanders type of career anymore. You can't play both sports anymore the way that they did. That being said, if there was an opportunity, that might be the spot. I also probably wouldn't put the Giants past that whole thought process. Same situation. I know that they like Jackson Dart, but he gets hurt. It's like, hey, if we want to try to do this one time without you and have you learn from somebody, let's take a 1-year flyer on Kyler Murray.
Is Kyler who you want him to learn
That's
from?
what I was saying. Yeah.
Well, listen, it becomes a matter of I don't trust their GM, so their GM,
No, that's fair.
may be the one that thinks that. You know what I mean? I don't think that, but that I'm not them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I can see that one. Yeah.
I could see. I'd be surprised if the Giants did it. Like if there was a team that was going to do something to that effect, I could see Miami doing that. Just because they don't seem to have their quarterback situation figured out.
Right.
But
That's one he mentioned too. Yeah, he mentioned Miami. Pags did while we were talking about it. So that was one of his. Yeah, that was one of his possibilities too as well. Yeah, I don't see the Giants just because you can't have your kid who's trying to learn from the guy who never comes to class. So I don't necessarily see it there. Plus, like the things that Kyler does is probably the things they want Jackson Dart to stop doing. Like, hey, stop running around, stop taking extra hits. Maybe step out of bounds every once in a while or stay in the pocket every once in a while. So
yeah, it's okay.
Trav said he'd love to have him on Jacksonville though, right? So for when they get rid of Trevor Lawrence.
I know Trav is like, hey, bring him in. Let's get rid of this Lawrence guy.
He's probably cursing me out in his head
The other spot, that has a very unique possibility is Dallas. And the only reason why I know that they're stuck with Dak for a little bit and such like that, but Kyler Murray is like undefeated in that stadium.
So he gets to play all the home games.
Well, there's the thought process of that. Like he's for some reason or another, he plays great in his hometown. He's from that area, right? Like so, it's.
Do you think his ego can let him be the backup? Because there's no obligation. So if he was going to be going somewhere for a backup situation, then that's where I think, he goes to baseball.
No, I think I love it because Dax plays the whole regular season, right? Has a great season, wins MVP. Kyler starts the playoff game because they're like, Dak, we know you can't do this. Kyler's undefeated. We've got a home game. He gets to be the closer. I love it. Great situation.
That would actually make some sense because he's only good for about 7 games a year anyway. So
there you go.
If you wait until the end of the year for him to play those 7 games, maybe that works out.
Not what you envisioned when you suggested Dallas, huh?
And go ahead.
So on top of that, I'm gonna switch away from him. And the other big news was that Trey Hendrickson did not get offer, did not get anything from the Cincinnati Bengals. The one guy that actually plays defense on their defense didn't get an offer.
Yeah, I mean, think about it from last year. The way they handled it last year, and then to still only give him 1 year, basically in lieu of franchise tagging him, was a great indicator there was no chance he was coming back.
Yeah.
So
and then he sat out the last half of the year too, right? So he was like, I'm done. Like this is not happening.
I mean, it was a disaster there. You knew they weren't going to offer him. Probably easily going to be the most sought after free agent.
Yes. For sure.
So, if you want to come to Seattle, I think that could be fun.
Yeah, it surprises me that Cincinnati is doing the things that they're doing. Like it's like, at what point do you start to want to try to better your team?
Right.
How do you have a GM still employed? That's what I don't get. Like you got a guy that is basically saying, we don't care about defense or protecting our guy, right? We don't care about the trenches or the defense as a whole. I don't get the thought process behind what this GM is doing. I mean, you're putting up a ton of yards. You can put up a ton of points. That's great. It's awesome. You can't keep your quarterback on the field every year. He's an every other year guy. And the defense can't stop anything. Yeah. So, and then your one guy you let leave. I mean, I feel like just based on that, you should be fired. And then for that coach and GM to be the only ones that didn't get fired in that division is insane to me.
Well, that's
I
because
didn't deal with
Cincinnati
that.
doesn't like to pay two people in the same position.
They also don't like to win, apparently.
Yeah. Well, they did pay two people, though. They paid 2 wide receivers. So it was like, let's give them the money and then the quarterback and nothing that will support them at all. So no line, no defense. I mean, if they the first 3 and out, the game is over. They're like, all right, well, we're not catching up in this one. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
just-
I mean,
it's just
their
wild.
defense couldn't stop a Pop Warner team. Like, what are they even trying to do? If you don't score every time you touch the ball, you lose.
Even sometimes when you do score every time you touch the ball, you lose. 46 to 45. I mean, was like 39-38. I mean, they were getting outscored every game. And there were certain games when there was no punts.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know how you can look at that as the owner and be like, oh yeah, this is definitely the product I want.
No, who cares? You own a football team and you're making money. You don't care. They don't even shovel the stadium out when it snows. So they don't bring anybody in to shovel it out and it becomes a mess. And actually other NFL teams and owners were angry about it because they're like, listen, it's like, how is this even a thing? Like everybody else is forced to do it except the Bengals because that guy's cheap.
I mean, the Bills even have fans come do it. Like it's
Yeah, they have their fans come do it and then they get their hands chopped off because they're not wearing any gloves.
Well, I mean, they can't help you from being dumb. Like, you know, if you're just doing stupid stuff like that, that's on you, right? I mean, that's like the people that got frostbite because they were out in KC in that sub-zero temperature with no shirt on. Like, what do you think was going to happen? Man. That being said, that does get us to the top of the show. Shout out to Steven for coming in. Appreciate that. And of course, everybody that's watching. And if you're listening on the radio, stay tuned for some smooth jazz headed your way coming up next. Otherwise, we will see you all tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.
Smooth jazz.
Yeah.